So if somebody wants to respond to her in the chat, but I don't know how to fix it for her, but just
Like,
so
could you recommend her to refresh the link that she's on? Because sometimes this Meet acts funny, so that would help. Thank you. All right, so to add the measurement, again, you just simply go add a measurement. Anything, let's say this is circumference. And so the bottom hem, or excuse my spelling mistakes. So if I add my medium size hair, and if I go onto grading mode and jump to grading, and let's say if I define this as -1, this would automatically update all the grading rules, right? So -1, -2, 1, 2, 3. If I want to change this to, let's say, 2.5, I can do that as well. And then if I shift back, I have all my sizes directly set up here. Right, so this would really simplify all the gradings and things. I would also recommend highly to add tolerances. You would automatically have these columns. And the reason, I'll show you why in a minute, but you can always add tolerances here. Sorry, it's just...
Are these measurements counted in inches or in centimeters?
You can do both. So to set that up, do you see this little thing like Tech Pack settings here?
Yeah.
If I go here, go to sizes here, I can actually choose what my sizes are, whether I want inches or centimeters, and what's my sample size directly from.
Okay.
Yeah. You can also set up your color combos, because you might be using the same style, might be coming in 4 or 5 different color combos, so you can set it up directly from here and choose your sample color. Cool. All right, so that covers measurement. Any questions about measurement?
No.
No.
Also, so if my audio is not clear, we are also recording this. So later on, we can share the recording as well. Sorry, I think with all the rush that I was in, I forgot to introduce Shivi. She's also on this call. She'll be the one who will be working with you to make sure that you guys are all onboarded. She'll be the one answering a lot of your questions together with me. So she's recording right now in the background. All right, so let's move on. Once I'm done with Sketch's material measurement, I just jump to doc view here. That would have a PDF output ready. It has all the information like the sketches, everything that we did, like annotations and things, all my sketches and colors and bills of material, and all my point of measurements and everything would appear here. I can customize this. I might don't want to show these images or show them bigger or anything. So all those customization options are available here directly. Now, TechPacker has a version control, and I would highly recommend you to also, when you teach this to the students, I would also recommend to have a flow. Like whenever you change a stage, remember that workflow that we had at the beginning, that colorful strip? Whenever you move from one stage to another, always ask them to create a version. Right? So you just this green button right at the bottom, I'm going to click here. Once I'm satisfied with it, I can create a version. And let's rename this version and call this as design completed. So once this version is completed, it's logged, right? So anybody comes, makes any changes, deletes, or does anything, we can always switch back to a version. And also the other good benefit is when I make changes, let's say now I go back to the same tech pack that I was in, the same style. And let's say we receive a sample, or we made a sample, and then we did a fitting of that sample. So do you see this little icon here, new section, right at the bottom?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anyone who cannot see this?
No, it's good.
Okay.
It's good.
Brilliant. So I'm just going to click here, new sections. You can actually create a fit section. So I'm going to call it fit, call it first fit. And this would automatically bring my sample size from here. You see the medium size here. It's going to add additional few columns here. So this is my fit sample. And when I measure it, this came out of tolerance. So it automatically highlights the differences. Right? And if you want to, and that's why I recommended to add tolerances. So if it's out of tolerance, it would show it as, it would highlight it. But if it's within the tolerance, it wouldn't highlight, right? So just for you to analyze it later, what was out of tolerance.
So good.
Brilliant. You can also add images. Sometimes you go into fittings and you take photos and things. You can add it directly to your images here. All right, so that covers the first fit. Let's say if you have other fit samples, you can continue to create more of those, or you want to manage something like quantity breakdown or costing. So costing works the same way. Let's say costing draft breakdown. And what it does is it just brings along your entire bills of material, adds 2 additional columns here. So I have consumption and cost per unit. And let's say waste bin elastic, we are using 1 yard of it, and cost per unit is 1.2. So it does all the calculations and things, right?
Amazing.
Zipper 1 and 10 cents. So you have all the, but if you were to add, let's say, additional rows and things, there's a table settings. Simply go insert row after, add, let's say, cut and make cost, right? And then you can add it here. Brilliant. One thing that I would also recommend you to use is you can actually save this entire thing in a library. So if you create one example of this, and if you want your students to utilize that example, you can always create a library and then just store it in your library. So let's say, but just make sure this is the new section is called custom section, right? So I'm just gonna call. And then you just simply drag and drop it here. So it would have, and next time if I create it, I just need to bring it up. And that's where I would have my example as well set up, right? All right, so that covers costing. Any questions about costing?
No.
No.
Brilliant. Would you have quantity breakdowns and things also implemented?
Probably not. We'll probably just keep quite standardized for them.
Okay. Yep, so let's just not go in there. But if you were to, how about the size sets? QA, quality assurance, quality control size sets?
We're just working from a base size 8 and menswear, so probably not.
Okay, so we can exclude that as well. If in case you will also want to include any other information, you can have fully custom section too.
Cool.
All right, so that covers the entire thing about sketches, materials, measurements, and all the